Breaking tonight, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, remember him, has received a surprise visit from new Foreign Secretary David Cameron. The two men were able to compare notes on what it's like being a politician that no one talks about anymore. Yes, what a week. David Cameron is back. Before all this happened, he was presumably sat at home with a nice cup of tea, heated blanket on him, watching a classic episode of Escape to the Country, when the phone rings. He thinks it's Ocado, who are late with his order of hobnobs, but days later, chillaxing Dave, Mr. Hugger-Hoodie, the genius behind the big society, which wasn't as big as he hoped. We've all been there. David Cameron is back, and back in high office as Foreign Secretary. But he's hardly going to be match fit, is he? It's like giving Gaza a call for the England squad. No, there's really only one winner in this whole story. Samantha Cameron, his long-suffering missus, who will be delighted to get him out of the house. How many more stories has that poor woman had to listen to about his bromance with Nick Clegg? The return of David Cameron does make you wonder which other ex-PMs Rishi could bring back. John Major famously upset the odds against Neil Kinnock in 1992. Could he mastermind an unlikely Tory victory? The economy's on the mend, but we know who could put a stop to that. Dear old Liz Truss. Too soon? Or with the help of medical science? Margaret Thatcher. We can but dream. No wonder viewing figures for Coronation Street and EastEnders are in long-term decline when you've got the Westminster soap opera to watch. Rishi Sunak does his best impression of nasty Nick Cotton, sacking lovable barmaid Suella Braverman, whose only crime is pulling a few pints of the cold, hard truth. But hell hath no fury, like a Home Secretary scorned. I'm not saying her letter to Sunak was scary, but Braverman wrote it using cut-out letters from a newspaper, like serial killers do. And the rest of it was written in crayon, green ink, and signed in her own blood. More bad news, as the PM's Rwanda plan is deemed unlawful. When did it become controversial to protect the borders of a country and enforce the law? If nothing else, it's unfair on people legally claiming asylum. Now, here's the thing. The illegal crossings are an economic, national security and humanitarian disaster. But that's not the real problem. If it's one thing the British people don't like, it's people jumping the queue. I've seen it many times at my local Tesco Express, and it can turn ugly. There you go, Mike Parry, words of wisdom. So if Rwanda doesn't work, Sunak has said he will do whatever it takes to tackle the illegal crossings. Now, what would that involve? Royal Navy interceptions in the Channel? A Donald Trump-style wall? If it comes to it, and I know it's unethical, but how about they use loudspeakers at Dover to blast out the greatest hits of James Blunt? If that doesn't stop the boats, nothing will.
Ed Sheeran.
Oh, Ed Sheeran, that crosses a line, Mike. Now, the Tories are toast, right? Tories are toast. But Keir Starmer is in no position to gloat. Current infighting within Labour and a flurry of resignations makes what's happening in the Middle East look like the Queen's garden party. Basically, we're in trouble. Having to choose between Labour and the Tories is like having to choose your favourite cray. There's really only one thing for it. I think this democracy thing is not working out. Let's just install my friend, the honest, no-nonsense and debonair Richard Tice, the thinking man's Roger Moore, to run the country. With Gaza as his Foreign Secretary, what could possibly go wrong? Or how about our soon-to-be king of the jungle, Nigel Farage? Is he our next PM in waiting? One thing's for sure, he couldn't do much worse of a job.